Two, one, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. It's Mike and a noisy dog over here in the background. Mike Brown with Votel.ai, and I got Michael and Douglas here with me. Douglas, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Okay, my name is Douglas. I am the owner of a business called Perfectly Imperfect Digital. I've been in agency mode now for approximately just going on 5 years and focused on just about what everyone else is doing in agencies and getting to a point where the focus really was in the area of building applications. I got involved in that. It's been in my forte in the past, and sort of currently sort of closing out in the closing out stages of a big healthcare app that I've built for a customer here in the US. Getting to the point where I'm looking forward and saying, well, I don't want all of these product lines. It's not all as profitable anymore. I don't think they're going to be with AI coming into the picture, and trying to sort of see where I'm repositioning and pivoting the company. And knowing Mike, having dealt with him, sort of going back in one of the first black label clients on the CRM, which at the time was not really, in my opinion, ready, because I tried to take it to market, but the customers were not happy. But I've seen what he's done now with Votel.ai, and I kind of think there's a lot of possibilities here. So
Mhm.
kind of looking at perhaps repositioning the organization, and there's a significant amount of small organizations in my area that has no idea how to go about AI agents and how they can actually help them with their businesses, their websites, and so forth and so forth. And the tool Votel AI being sort of a fully integrated sort of CRM platform is ideal for small businesses. So I kind of think that's where I'm going to position the organization going forward. I've just signed up about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Haven't done much anything at this point in time. I'm still sort of really sort of bogged down. And I've got like sort of 6 international teams that's behind the organization, which I need to sort of, and a couple of customers in the software build area where I need to sort of basically manage out of before I can really put all my attention into this thing. But I'm excited. I'm excited to of where it can go,
Mhm.
and I kind of think for the next sort of 2 or 3 years, there's a great opportunity here for agencies like mine to basically pivot and re-engineer themselves to instead of like building things, is to still build things, but build it with a sort of plug and play, paint by numbers sort of platform that is very easy to manage. So I have more time available to myself because time is becoming very important to me. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Michael, go for it.
Well, in my case, I've been in the real estate space for over 4 decades, and I jumped in on learning how to wanting to learn how to not to have so many freaking employees and automate everything. That's where I started with you, Mike,
Mhm.
years ago as a Black Label also member. And then now that you came out with this has really blown me away with Votel.ai. Um, I've been playing. I am first of all, I am not techie at all. As you know, that I've discussed that with you multiple times. That's usually all my questions. And what I love about AI and the way you've implemented this with AI, it's just you freaking speak it. That's it. You type it and you just put it in there and it freaking builds it. And then what I noticed a couple days ago, because I keep following you, so I feel like a stalker almost. And I start looking, and the reason I'm doing that, just so you understand, so that I have to ask you less questions. I'm looking
Mhm.
at your videos and I'm seeing all the new features that you're coming out with. And like I think you said yesterday, or the day before, you're coming out with like 40 different updates a day almost. You're improving the platform, and is just exciting. And then one of the ones that I saw that you just did, and you highlighted it, a couple days ago was with a website builder, where you can go in there and you can just now, just if it's something minor and you don't want to have to speak into it, I just want to change a word or something. Boom! I can click on it and I can actually type over it and do it right there on the spot, like a regular web builder. So it's a incredible hybrid. I love that it's a hybrid, because I can do the simple things, but the more complicated things with it, that require a lot of code and integrations and colors and gradients and all that other stuff, is just that there's no way I'm going to do that. And that's where you've got the team together, where they're doing this and they plugged it into AI. So I love it. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. With AI, like it's just so revolutionary. It's changing how we do everything. Like I just did the video, moments ago. I was talking about the website builder and things that used to take weeks, and you need to hire professionals, and like graphic designers, a web designer, coder, you can now do in minutes, and it's just absolutely mind-boggling. So you spend more time thinking about what to say to the AI than you do actually like building stuff. It's like you just talk to it. If you don't like it, just talk to it again and it'll change it, or tell it the same instructions 3 times, get 3 different versions of something to see which one you like better. And so that's really powerful to me. I love that part of it. But you guys are at kind of different spots in your journey getting set up. I know, Douglas, you talked about you got some different offshore teams you got to work with and get set up on different projects, and then you're coming back in here in Votel and kind of getting everything off the ground. Now, tell us what your kind of go-to-market strategy is, like who you're going to be targeting, that sort of stuff.
Certainly, the target would be small to medium business. Even single owner businesses in the areas, because there's a significant amount of tradies in the area, and they don't have the time to pick up the phone and take a call.
Mm-hmm.
And if I phone my tradie, I go into a message box which is full on a regular basis. So this is the type of market I see that I want to get involved in, sort of the small guy, because you can automate his whole life for him, basically. And especially if he's out on a job, he's a roofer, he puts on roofing, he doesn't want to now schedule the next, business call or whatever the case might be. He wants you to just go straight to his website, find a spot and book him in so that he can come and do the job.
Yeah.
So that type of automation is what I'm looking at. I think there's a significant opportunity just in the immediate area where I live. There's companies out there that's doing automations for organizations, but they typically, everyone is chasing the elephant accounts. They want the big accounts. They want to, I kind of like a portfolio with many small accounts, because if I lose one, it's not as painful as it is when you lose a big account. So that is the focus. The go-to-market strategy is really and truly, focused on social media marketing, and sort of in the sort of next door neighbor app, that type of thing. So it's very localized at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also looking at sort of saying, well, I have the opportunity to white label this, and I still need to sort of get on my understanding of whether I can actually sell these things to other agencies, and if not, what is the constraints. But I kind of think there's an international opportunity and not just a sort of focus in the immediate area. So bread and butter, local, perhaps building something larger, a little bit more national / international, certainly in English speaking countries. So
That's Funny, you're just
Sorry.
talking about roofers. I was just doing an onboarding call yesterday, and it was like eye-opening as to the value that you can provide with this system. And so this is what happened on the onboarding call. So new customer, he's going to be targeting roofers, and I asked him why he's targeting roofers, and he's like, well, because I did some review generation for this roofing company, and in return they gave me a free roof. I was like, what? They give you a free roof? I'm like thinking like, wow, that's a really great deal for you. Roofs can be really expensive.
Extremely.
But then he went on to tell me, he's like, I don't know, like I'm not good at sales. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I can sell the platform, this and that. I'm like, you told me you just traded your services for a free roof. Like, you just demonstrated how valuable your service is. Like, if you're not good at sales, like, you just got like a 20 grand, benefit right there. Right. So like, that's how much people are willing to pay for this. And once I said that, he's like, oh yeah, I can see that. Right. But it's like, the amount of value you can get from even just something as simple as review generation for a roofing business. I mean, that can pay multiple dividends. They might be getting extra roof deals every year, which is like hundreds of thousands of dollars in their pocket. So the value there is huge, especially with big ticket items like that. But, I was just impressed to get a free roof. I mean, that's great. That's really good.
Listen, if I can get 20 grand, I'll buy it, because right now I need a roof and it's going to be about 47 grand. So,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think the trade, for me, I mean, the older you get, time becomes more valuable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the real value in automation is time saving. And that is where I think I'm very excited where AI is going, because if you can put your life on auto, and your business on auto, and you only do the thing that you're good with, like you're a roofer and that's what you focus on, you're not going to have the mess with your tax, the mess with your everything else at the end of the day that you typically get into if you're somebody who doesn't sort of do well with back end administration and keeping the books going and so forth and so forth. And nowadays, I mean, even in my business, I use AI extensively to make decisions on my financials and going forward. I mean, that's just the reality. At the end of the day, it's 100 times better than the bookkeeper that and an accountant that used to come back with a report of a few pages and charge me a few $1,000s. I can now run it through AI and get a split sort of report, analysis and report, and with, as you said early on, it always comes back with a variety of options, and it's for me to make the decision of where do I go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Michael, share with us where you are in that journey, kind of getting set up here.
So very interesting, because what I'm trying to do is I do want to set up a white label, and I've already started it here in Votel. You can even show it in the meantime, because I actually have some questions on it, because it's called smartemployee.ai. And right now my focus is probably going to be going after real estate professionals, mortgage professionals, real estate investors and insurance agents and stuff like that, mostly for. And those are the simple ones. And me relating how to use the product, what I need. I'm trying to build it to how would I use it being in that profession myself. And it's just exciting because, having a real estate office and a mortgage office like I have had in the past, and having to have a huge overhead, having a huge, not just having to pay for the office and all the equipment and all that other crap, but then employees and all this stuff. And now with the AI, the way it's coming and automating things and integrating where, the phone calls come in and you can have an AI voice, actually speak and not just quiz, but filter out what the call is about. So that it'll even help the caller determine what they're looking for, but it's also the way you've done it with Votel. It's all documenting it automatically in the CRM, and it's fantastic. It's phenomenal because it's putting it all in the right. I guess I don't know if you would be calling it tags or not, but depending, like if they want a mortgage, let's just say somebody calls about a mortgage, they want to have a forward mortgage, they want to have a reverse mortgage, which is for elderly people or 62 and older, that they don't have to make a mortgage payment and stuff like that. Those are the things that are great, so that when a loan officer gets that call and they get contacted, they don't just call back the client and ask them all these questions. No, they already know what they called about, because your AI agent already asked and answered all these questions, and at the end, it even helped the caller schedule an appointment, like what Douglas was doing. It would schedule the appointment, so it does it all automated. So you don't need a big staff. This is fantastic for a loan officer. This is fantastic for a realtor, a single, solopreneur. Is fantastic to be able to use these things, because you don't have to have a big staff at all. At most, maybe one, in my opinion. And of course, it depends how big you want to scale. But how much money do you really make? Because if I can make $1 million, $2 million a year on this with no employees or one employee, it's like, I'm not here to make myself to be a billionaire. I'm not gonna lie, that's not my goal. But to make 8 figures, and I'm talking about mid-high 8 figures, I absolutely see this happening. I actually went and got all the ideas that I have that I want to implement with my business and Votel, and I actually went into Claude, and I said, because Claude and both ChatGPT, they both know a lot about me and all my ideas. And I said, this idea that I have with this, and we talked about the bankruptcy one that I have also, the bankruptcy 911. That one alone, I said, is this $1 billion idea? And it initially said, no, it's not $1 billion idea. But then it started going down, and it says, like, it's about a $400 million idea. And it's just like, wait, what? And all I got to do is just, implement this stuff and start putting it together. And most of it is honestly, is AI, and you've put it together, which a lot of it is integrating stuff. Yeah, there's other things that I want automated that is going to be done with AI, but all this, the communication and the communicating in and the communicating out, whether it's SMS or phone calls or emails, and then going out and then triggering this to go out in the calendar, it is an automated. Again, this has been around maybe for some time, but you've always needed to have a VA or a team of VAs. You needed to have a team of coders and developers for the website, whether you did, ClickFunnels or go high level or anything. It's like, no, you don't need any of that. With what you have here, is just, this is why I'm trying to now put a lot of more time into learning this. I'm putting more time in it so that I have to put less time later. So I'm trying to invest the time now to learn and implement it, which is the key word, implement it, so that I can do less. Yeah. And that to me is the ultimate goal. And you guys are talking about a roofer. Absolutely. A roofer, all he wants to do is freaking do roofs. But when you have a 24/7 AI employee who's handling all that stuff and making sure that the calls are being answered and that they're being directed in the right place, whether it's through an AI voice or a text, or whether it's through the widget on your website. And that's the beautiful thing, that you have it all in one package, and it's all together, and the CRM is all there. You're still not having to put, duct tape a whole bunch of stuff together.
Yeah.
So this is why it's exciting for me.
Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind of words there. And so I also want to just kind of open it up and see if you guys have questions about the platform, or how do you do anything or anything like that. We can kind of take this opportunity to kind of show the group maybe some different things. So Michael, I'll let you go ahead and start, but anything you want to learn today or something I can show you, some questions, let me know.
So yeah, I'd like to know some tips. As a matter of fact, some of the prompts that you've done on your other videos, I've actually copied them, and then I'm creating a small little library of the generic prompts for building a website, for example, and that's good. But for example, on the website itself, every time that you ask for it to make a change or something, and it does it. And sometimes it makes a change for the better for one thing, but then it changed something that I didn't want changed. Is there a way that I can go back to the previous version?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that we added here as a feature, and I'm glad that you mentioned this because we didn't tell anyone about it, and now is a good time to do that. So this is one of the 40 plus features we've been shipping every day. When you are chatting with the AI now, if you guys can see my screen, if you hover over the blue chat bubble, there's a link to restore before this message. So it's a rewind feature, right?
You didn't have that before. You just got that.
Yeah, we just got that. Just released it. And so right now everything in here is versioned. We got some other cool things that are going to be coming out around this, but it's just undo, right? Go back. And you can go back one message, you can go back 10 messages, whatever you want, but you can just rewind and undo.
That is awesome. So if you were to do that and you like something and you want to try something new but not have, would you just clone that one and then add another question to the clone one to make the change?
You can. I mean, you can tell the AI, hey, make a copy of this and save it as, version 2.html or whatever, and just tell it to make a copy for you. It'll do that. But if you want to kind of do it yourself too, you do have the full file manager here. So under the file manager, you can like download everything to back it up, right? Or even edit it outside in a different tool if you wanted to, and then upload it when you're done. But yeah, if you want to do kind of backups, I think that would be the best way to do it.
So if you had this version, let's say this one that you have up right now, let's say that this is version 2, and you still want to make a tweak. Would you save this? How would you save this? Would you, because I see that you have file manager tab there. I'm not sure how to use that. Would you click on the code and copy it? What would you do?
Yeah, so what I would do here is just click the download button. So if you want to save this version, and
call it version 2,
you just download it to your computer, you got it. But as you're talking right now, I'm realizing maybe we just need like a duplicate button. So just like, create a copy in here. So I'm going to make a note to do that. I think that it'll be cool. I think we should have a duplicate button. I'm going to write that down. But that would be the way I would do it. Just if you like something, you don't want to mess it up, download it. Or the other way, like if you don't want to download it, just tell AI, hey, make a copy of it, save it as version 2. AI can do it, right? AI has full access to your site. I'm talking about like all the files in the file manager, right? All the settings, like everything. So, the same thing that you're going to do manually, you can just tell the AI to do it. Because it can like read files, list files, delete files, update files, pull images, browse the web. It has all these tools in there to use at its disposal. And that actually brings up another new feature that we added in here. So before, when you wanted to, let's say, migrate a website or have it copy another website, you'd have to use our MCP tool. So you would connect Votel to like Claude or Votel to ChatGPT, and then you would tell ChatGPT to do it for you. But we just gave the AI website builder access to more tools, including crawling the web, downloading images, extracting text from websites. And so one of the demos I did last night is we created a prompt and we said, okay, AI, I want you to browse the customer's old website URL and design a new one with the same text, right? So now it can actually go to that URL, get the text, and use that in its design.
So it'll get all the content from there. Will it scrape all the pages or just one particular page?
Whatever you tell it. If you want all the pages, tell it all the pages. Yeah, it can do that. So we've had it move over 300 plus page blogs. It can do anything you tell it to do. So that's really cool. Now it's also good for like, copying the style. Maybe you're migrating from another service to Votel, right? Just tell it, hey, copy my website. I want it to be exactly the same. It'll do that. Or you can say, hey, I really like this website, right? I want a website like this, but for me in my industry, right? And
Right.
kind of use that for inspiration. So you got that as an option too. But yeah, since it has access to the internet, I mean, you can even have it like research something like, hey, find me, a good blog post to put on my website. So you can do anything.
So I have a question or two on that, Mike. Just let's say, I mean, my website is a source of information, right? But it also has an area where you can go and you can purchase plans and stuff like that. How well does the AI deal with this sort of copying and integration of, if you've set up payment systems within the Votel.ai, and how well does it cope in bringing those plans across, or is that something that you still need to do manually?
You said how well does it do what part?
The planning, the plans. If I have plans right now on my website, and I have, for instance, subscription services as part of the website, which I have. I have a range of digital services, and you basically can go out. You can buy a website build, for instance, for a fixed fee, and you can do the transaction on the website. So what I'm saying is that something that the sort of the payment page for planning that I still need to do manually, or is that something that AI will also copy over and basically help structure?
Great question. So when you tell the AI to build something, and you may say, "Hey, I want you to put the checkout page for my SaaS service on, the top part, the bottom part, wherever," the AI is going to put like what I call like a placeholder form, right? That's like it's going to make a little mock-up form there. It's going to put it there. The form's not going to do anything. And so, in order to actually hook it up with functionality like what we did here, we actually go back into the form builder. And in the form builder, this is where we can actually build, I think it was this one that's on the site. Yeah, this is where you can actually build the form. And so if you're, selling a SaaS subscription on here, we got the payment element. So if you just search for payment, you can drag that on here on the screen. Now you got a payment form. So you're going to get this form, you're going to publish it, and you're going to get this embed code. Right. And this is actually what we feed to the AI. And so I can show you an actual example of that here. If I go back to my website builder, you'll see one of my messages here is I pasted that snippet of code. And I said, hey, that form we got on the top, replace it with this, basically. And the AI is like, okay, done. And so now I have my form on here. And so now when you fill out the form, like it creates the contact in Votel, it triggers an automation and agents, and that agent's building a website based on the website that the person entered. And so we're converting that placeholder form into like a real live form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
So, Mike, while you're there at the website builder, because I saw yesterday when I was looking at your video, you were actually working on this same website, and I saw that you were able to change colors and stuff from the form. Now, on the web builder, where is it that you can change certain colors? Like, let's say you right there where it says your website is costing you. You have costing you in yellow. Can you click on it and change it there too, or do you have to tell AI to do it?
Yeah, not yet with the colors. So we only have two main types of things you can edit today in the website builder. Again, it didn't used to be possible with AI websites. Now you can, but you can change any text, right? So any text anywhere, right? You can change this, anything, any label, button, text, etc. That's one option. And the second option is like even text above an image. That's cool. The second option is going to be the images. So anytime you see like an image, like let's say I'm like, oh, I got to fix this logo up here, right? Well, I can open up the image picker and I can choose an image. And then I could even like resize it, right? So I can like make the image bigger, smaller, etc. So you got image picker and you got the text editor. But some of the things next up, I mean, we want to make it so you can edit the buttons, maybe change the links to the buttons, change the colors. Team's working on that. It's just, I don't want to I want to emphasize how difficult of a task it is, because with the AI websites, it doesn't, it
It's a
doesn't give
hybrid,
it
is
to
what I
you in the
told you.
same
You made
format
a
every
hybrid out of
time.
this.
It could be like any format. So you have to support like every possible combination. Now with a drag and drop builder, you know what they're going to be dropping. So it's very easy to be able to change the color. But with this, I mean, it could be anything, right? And that's what makes it the challenge. So that's why I think no one else has this right now, because it's hard. It's a hard task to do, to just be able to edit the text on an AI generated website, or edit the images and resize it and do all sorts of stuff and have it be responsive and look beautiful on all devices. But that'll be coming up. That's coming up.
But if you go to text and you put in text like I'm changing my branding colors and this is the new palette,
Mm-hmm.
and I sort of ask AI to recreate a website with those colors, it will be able to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have
Okay.
like your brand color palette, just paste it here. If you have like the hex codes, for example, you can just
Yes.
paste it here. Even if
Mhm.
you have a screenshot of like your old website, you could just take a
Yeah.
screenshot of it, paste it in there. And then the AI can read the images and do it that way too.
So there you can actually paste an image where it says describe your site. You can actually drop in a picture in there.
Yeah, you got attachments here, so you can
Yeah,
drop in a picture of a site you like, or your old sites. You say, hey, copy the colors. You can drop in your logo and say, use this for the logo. You can attach anything really. Just like in ChatGPT, you might upload some documents and you want to get some advice. Same type of thing. You upload some designs and give it some inspiration. Upload your brand colors. It can do all that.
So just to what would you do, for example, going back to one of my first questions here is whether you do a version 1 to go version 2 or 3, would you clone it, or would you make a change? And before you answer, does it cost me more money in tokens in changing it, or does it cost me more money in cloning it and then making that change?
So the clone operation is like a lot smaller token wise, right? It's calling one tool to like make a copy of a file. It doesn't need to read the whole file to do that. So I think definitely making changes to a site is going to be more token wise than making a copy. But like I said, I'm like less worried about like making backups and copies now that we got the undo button here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, if you make a mistake, just go back and then you're fine. And that doesn't cost any tokens to undo. So you're just rewinding here. And
Yeah.
you have this history, right? If I leave, I come back, right? I go to back here in the settings and I leave and I go back into the website builder. I still have my conversation history here. So it does persist. So you can rewind like next week. Right? You didn't find you made a mistake till later. You can just go back. So
Now you
I
can
think
only
that's,
restore the latest. You can't restore further up, can you?
we don't have fast forward because once you go back, it kind of overwrites the history.
Right.
But I know the team's actually working on like a more of like a version history type of thing, so you can go back to like any point in time. But that's in the works. But right now, this is like the quick and easy way. Just go back.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Now, when you clone this one and you make a version 2 by cloning it, are you still going to have that same button there that says, go back to the previous version, the one that you were just hovering over? That one, restore files to before this. Will that show up in the clone as well?
No. So the clone won't have the chat history. It will start as basically a new page in here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good question. Good question.
Mhm.
So can you do some sort of version management, basically sort of by saying I'm numbering these changes as version 1.2, and later on when you go back, instead of having to go through all your previous records,
Mhm.
just ask AI to go to version 1.2 and
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna be, like I said, launching something like that for the version history.
Right.
When the AI makes changes to your website, it goes in and like, with precision says like, okay, I'm gonna change these lines, right? And it kind of makes like multiple edits. So I think we're gonna be able to roll back to specific edits, not just like, the previous version, but like maybe you liked the way it did the form, but you don't like the way it did something else. So you might like approve one and reject the other type of thing. So I think that's where we're going with that, the version history. But we see everything the AI is doing, so that's why we're able to provide that undo feature, because we got the before and the after there.
If you were
Um, so yeah.
if you were to go in there and click on costing you in that yellow,
hmm
and can you how do you tell what color that is if you want to use that same color for something else? What is you right click it, you inspect it, what do you do? You get the
For
code?
copy color,
Mhm.
that's a good idea. So we don't have something built in to copy the color, but I think that'll be a good feature. So I'm gonna write that down. Copy color. Um,
'Cause sometimes the AI has done a beautiful
yeah,
gradient of a color, and that's one of the things that as soon as we're done with this meeting, I'm gonna go back and go to previous that you just showed me with that new feature that you created, which is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Because I had a beautiful gradient with a particular part of it, and when I made a change, I lost it. It went away. It's like, whoa, wait, I want that back. So now I'm happy that I'm going to be able to go back to it. Um, so that's what I'm seeing that you're doing there. You can actually ask it there, like if it was ChatGPT or Claude itself, and say, what's the color palette that we're using for each one of these things? It'll tell you.
Exactly. So like, although there's no tool to like, hey, select this color and tell me what it is, I'm just gonna tell it to like, hey, give me all the colors you used as a brand design guide. And so it's breaking it up here.
Mm.
It's telling us which yellow, light yellow, yellow dim, like all these different versions here. And so now I got this as my my
Ah.
my color design guide. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that because then you can copy. So if you find something, I like that idea where I can ask for it, give me, like you just said, the primary palette. I can save that, and then for future reference, I can always reference it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And that works really well if you're designing multiple pages. You want to keep that consistency between the different pages. Um, and we do the same thing when we're like designing ads, and we don't use this for designing ads, but we'll use like, Claude or OpenAI, and we'll just paste a screenshot of our website. Like, here's our style, here's our colors, right? Make some ads that look kind of like that.
Right.
And so that's really helpful, giving it something as like a starting point.
So, Mike, I have a slightly different question that sort of deviates slightly from the futures that you are
Mhm.
showing here.
Mhm.
And that's going to help me more than likely in my business decisions. But I'm sort of kind of keen, and most of my past sort of setups in terms of the business itself is to have me work on the business rather than in the business.
Mhm.
So I can go two ways. I can go and try and learn this product as well as you know it, right? Which I will never be able to. Or I can appoint somebody who does that, but then you have to risk. You have a trained employee and they leave the organization. Everything falls by the wayside. And then there's the third business model, the one which I prefer. I prefer to sort of find somebody, whether it's your organization or somebody very closely associated with your organization, that offers onboarding and services to my organization so that my focus is primarily on bringing the customers in and then sharing in some of the costs that I'm getting out of that customer initially, price of the income I get with a team at the back end that is always going to be up to date with the latest and greatest in this product.
Mhm.
And that is the business model I prefer. So, where do you sit in your thinking if you don't have that already in the making of actually being able to provide that type of support? Um, in the end, I'm going to learn the product, but
Mhm.
I kind of just thinking that if I bring on a customer, it won't bring that. It won't do that customer justice because I have multiple customers. If I am the one that's going to try and be the master of knowledge around a product.
Mhm.
Likewise, even if I appoint one or two or three people, it is a continuous sort of, they've got to be continuously trained up to know the latest. And as you just said recently in one of your comments on Facebook, is like 42 changes, futures, new futures in a week, that type of, or daily, or whatever the case might be. I can't even remember. I was just because of the way AI is moving things along today. So I would really love it if you say, well, I'm building a sort of a support team at the back here who, on an ad hoc basis, without me having to pay you a monthly fee for that. But if I bring a customer on board, I can engage them. They do the onboarding. They do the customer's website. They do all of these beautiful things you can do with the app for the person, settle it down, and then there's a second business model which you can have that
Mhm.
provides ongoing support for that customer, like tweaks or so I outsource visually the whole thing from
Yeah.
that perspective. What is how does that fit with your strategic thinking right now where Votel AI is going?
So when it comes to support, I know support can be a challenging point for every business, right? Because you want to focus on sales, and you got customers you need to support, and it's kind of like a hybrid. You're like, well, I want to grow my business, and the only way I can do that is if I'm on more demos, I'm doing more networking, doing more ads, all that stuff, and support really just takes away from that. And so we got a few different things that help in that regard. So first, I want to show, one of the things we do for all of our white label customers is you actually get the white label help docs here. So the exact same help documentation we get, the videos and the API guide and everything, you get with your brand, right? And instead of our branding in the videos, right, there's no branding in the videos. So that helps a lot. That takes a big load off, having every single thing, kind of documented, and how-to guides and everything in the platform. So that helps. That helps us. That helps you, right? And we're constantly improving these guides. The second thing is, I approach everything like everything's like it's a tech problem. Like I apply technology to every problem I come across. That's just how my brain works. And one of the things that we just built in here is our own internal support system. And so you guys are going to see this new button down here that says live support. And if I click on that, it actually does a call to our support team. And I don't want to speak to them right now on the call, but I'll hang up. Actually does a call to our support team using our built-in meetings, where we can talk, we can do video, we can share screen, we can even control your screen. And so this technology we're using right now for our own customers, but this is something we plan on offering to the agencies, right, and letting them kind of use this as a support service. So if we can provide basically white label support to your customers.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that'll help take the load off.
So that's support. So what about onboarding and perhaps sort of as a white glove service, sort of, it's typically a once off getting the customer up and running with the basics that's necessary. And then, that type of thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we do have some solutions for that too. We can definitely talk about that. A lot of that kind of depends on kind of the volume, and we can kind of come up with a price for that. But we have helped agencies with that for the onboarding. And some of it has to deal with like the scope of the onboarding too. Like if it's our typical, type of customer, we can set them up in an hour or less. But if you have something a little bit more involved, we can talk about that too.
Okay.
But in your case, like if you're going to be targeting roofers, the whole goal is to get it perfect for that particular client. So where we just make a snapshot and, you just keep duplicating it over and over. And so ideally there's very low support, right? You're just tweaking and perfecting the master template as you go.
Right, but you also, like in the old black label sort of environment, you had some templates where people were able to sort of share or sell
Mhm.
templates. Are you going to have that again? Because I kind of think Michael is not going to see me competition where I am if he goes into roofers, and in my area, I may have built something for healthcare organizations over here, like dentists or whatever the case might be,
Mhm.
and it's something that he wants to sort of dwindle in. And there's a good quid pro quo here if you have agency owners basically, I guess, fast tracking
Mhm.
the build, and I kind of think in many cases I like I like that idea because I'm
Mhm.
willing to pay for it because again it's time saving, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like the idea of like a agency marketplace where
Hmm.
people can buy, sell, share, trade, whatever snapshots or templates they have. So I
Hmm.
made a note of that. I think that'll be really cool. Um, yeah, I think that'll be really cool. I like that. So we'll
Hmm.
keep adding new things as we go and as we get more feedback, and just try to make this easier and easier for clients. I know, like you said, support is one of those things that comes up. Um, and now we got templates in here. But we're also trying to get to the point to where, like, you don't need a template in a perfect world. Just tell the AI what you want and it'll do it. And but some people still love templates. So
Well,
just need
I
a
don't think
perfect.
it's so much that we want templates, but sometimes we don't have the creative genius or the creative mind to even see what it looks like. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you how to build a beautiful car, but when I see a beautiful car, it's like, damn, that's beautiful. I want one like that. But now
Mhm.
I want it,
Exactly.
with my name on it or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's just more of a visual, uh, and it's like a menu. It's like almost like a menu with pictures or without pictures.
Hmm.
As
Yeah.
cheesy as it sounds, is like I love menus with pictures because like I get to see, okay, that's what it's gonna, that looks appetizing. I want
Yeah.
that.
I'm the same way. Every menu at every restaurant has to have pictures. Otherwise, I'm like, what the heck am I ordering?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then I have to ask, the waiter or the service person is like, and then they got to tell me, and is like, so this is why. I usually get up and I go to the bathroom, and I'm really walking the restaurant around, looking at all the tables and looking at what they have. And when I see somebody having something that I like, I'll go ask the waiter, "What was
Yeah.
that? What are they having? Because that looks good."
Yeah, but Michael, but I think you summed it up perfectly here. Visualization is very important, but at the same time, I'm thinking further than just the websites. I'm also thinking about the automation behind it, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Because a lot of that automation could
Yeah.
have taken Michael days
To
of
set it up.
collaboration with
Mhm.
somebody to actually draw up a template
Mhm.
of
Well.
automation. And the reality is there is value in it for him to sell it to agencies which is not in direct competition with him, right? He can obviously decide who he sells it to.
Hmm.
And if he's not concerned about competition, anyone out there. But at the same time, you may find automations from a different industry
Hmm.
that could change the way the real estate agency work today because it opens up your mind from a different perspective or to a different perspective. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is like I'm a big believer in this type of sort of ecosystem between agencies at the back because
Hmm.
there's enough money there to be made for everyone.
Mhm.
And if you share, you fast track. And when you fast track, we can all
Well.
capitalize quicker on the market opportunity, as opposed to the old days when people said, I've got to keep everything under my wings and protect it. Because really, you're not protected anyway today. What you need to do is you just need to move quickly all the time so that you one head ahead of everyone else. So, but that's my sort of view. I like the idea of sharing, and that's whether I pay for it or not, I don't care. It's just a
Hmm.
question of it's the time that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that'll be really cool. I think that having the mechanism in there to kind of set your own pricing and maybe giving people some flexibility there. So I was thinking maybe there's templates where you could charge like a per minute rate if you're using the AI,
Or rent
right?
it
Maybe
out.
there's some templates where you pay something up front, or maybe you pay something recurring. So I'd love to build that in there so you have
Well,
ultimate flexibility.
and here's the deal. and you should look at it from this way, you should basically take a cut of that. And the reason why you should is because you're going to have to manage that environment. You need to make sure that the quality and everything else that comes through there is up to standard. And that is, in my opinion, for you, a revenue stream which is rather passive, with the exception of you may have one person or whatever the case might be, making sure that everything that's being shared
Everything's
is not
maintained.
just, yeah, it's working. It's actually, it makes sense. It's not just a frustrated customer that's going to buy something from another agency. So that is the beauty about a model like that, is you can have a quid pro quo for everyone that participates, including your organization in it.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. I think it's great. I think it's great. And not to go off topic, but back to the menu thing. So anytime the restaurant doesn't have pictures, I end up going to their Google Maps profile, looking at pictures, and then I say, I want this from my phone. I'm like, I want this. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Right? So the restaurant doesn't even know what the food looks like. So that's funny.
Yep. That's
but yeah, marketplace. I think that'll do really well.
Well, I think it's also going to just make it that much more attractive to all those that are considering using your platform, because I really think you're so way ahead of the competition. They may be bigger, but they're not better. From what I'm seeing, and you're keeping things so simple. And this is what I'm really liking, again, because I'm a simpleton. I'm not a techie guy, and I've learned how to speak prompt, to ChatGPT and Claude and all that other stuff. And now I'm using those skills to be able to just talk into Votel at this point. It's cool.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And Douglas, I'll pass it to you now. Did you have any questions you want to get answered? Anything you want me to show you how to do?
Look, I haven't dived as deep as Michael have in the product, but I can tell you right now, one of the things that I'm keen to show one of my customers right now, because we've had this discussion, is just a sort of general overview of an automation, of the automation process. If you have an example of an already set up website where you have a customer coming in through the various channels, like I'm coming through chat or I'm coming through a call, just showing how things can flow, how it automatically flows into the CRM, how it flows automatically to the correct support after AI, who has learned your knowledge, has answered all of your, depleted all the questions. And then also the fact that you can have different agents, once with a sale focus, and if they are channeled to the right agent, you now have a salesperson that you've replaced. If you can do that in a short sort of synopsis, I would love that, because this is the type of thing I want to be able to share with my customers, and specifically this one right now.
Okay, perfect. Well, the first thing I want to say, and this is the way my brain works, and I encourage everyone to think the same way too. But I kind of start with thinking about the pipelines, right? And I don't want to have any lead, any contact, anybody in my system unless they're in a pipeline. And so we designed the system around that. Like, everyone should live in a pipeline, and you got a little pipeline switcher up here. And if you want to move people around, you can. But when everybody's in a pipeline stage, and you know what those stages are, and it could be something as simple as like, hey, this is a new lead. This one, you sent the proposal. This one showed up for the demo. This one was a no-show, right? As long as you predefine those stages, it makes everything else here in the system easy, because we're going to set up our automations around those stages. And so I'm going to give you a very simple example here. And again, I'm going to go back to this free website funnel that we did, which is basically like a lead magnet for agencies. So imagine you're marketing this on Facebook, and you're saying, hey, business owner, get your free website redesign. You might have a multi-page form here. You're asking them some qualification questions. What's your marketing budget? Do you do any SEO? But imagine that you have that in here. So as soon as we collect their information, two things happen. One, automatically a contact's going to be created in the system, right? So I see this was the demo I did yesterday, Mr. Alex Bob, right? Alex Bob had a contact created. And you see in here, and this is the timeline, right? So you contact created. And then I see immediately an AI agent ran. And that's because there was a trigger. I can expand it and I can see what happened. You also can debug things right here from the contact view. So I can see kind of step by step, okay, the trigger fired because the form was submitted. Cool. Right. And then it created a website. Cool. Now that's exactly what I wanted to happen, but let me dive into that agent and kind of show you what it looks like. So this is the workflow. And the trigger is form submission. So when someone submits that form, it triggers this agent workflow. Now, in this example, I didn't put them in a pipeline, but I would and should if I was doing this. So I would go ahead and put in the set pipeline step. And this way, we'll put them in like, to do, right? Or to call or new lead. So we're going to put this person in a pipeline. I don't want a single contact, like I said, unless they're in a pipeline. So now when a new lead comes in, they're in the to-do column. But guess what? You might have multiple workflows in here, right? And imagine this one's called my new lead workflow. Every time someone gets moved to this pipeline stage, so I'm going to put in pipeline column change. And we're going to say when it changes to column to do, imagine that's like new lead. Now we get another workflow that triggers. Now it's just a matter of what do we want to happen when we get a new lead? Well, you might want to shoot them out an email, right? You might want to thank them. You might want to shoot out an SMS. You might want to do an automated call. We can do an outbound call. But I like breaking up
with AI, correct?
What's that?
An automated call with AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Have the AI agent call them and ask them whatever questions you want, book a meeting, anything along those lines. But when you treat everyone as like every contact should be in a pipeline, now your automations revolve around pipeline stages. And it's just super easy to stay organized. Like if you ever need to go make a tweak, like what happens when I get a new lead? Right? What automation runs? What agent runs? Well, guess what? You just got this one called new lead. Like that's what happens for this pipeline stage. And so I'll typically like look at building out potentially one of these for each pipeline stage. And yeah, just keeps it simple.
So you can have multiple pipeline, different sort of descriptions, new lead, and you can have sort of, let's just say you've got to have a different action that needs to take place for that customer. You can have a different sort of description, which has got different steps. Like this one is, to do and whatever, but you can have totally different steps for another pipeline, as many pipelines as you want, right?
Exactly.
And the identifier is upfront, and then it triggers here what needs to happen next. Okay, this is great. Okay, so this is all automation. So now show us what that agent can do. The one at the receiving end who's now taking a call, making a call, or receiving a inquisitive client who's out there trying to find more detail about your website, what you do.
Okay. No, great question. So in this example, like this is the web design agent, right? So this is hooked up to my landing page. It's building a website using our create website step and the AI. That's great. But let's say you got this new lead pipeline, they just signed up. Now they're in the pipeline. Well, the whole purpose behind these emails and SMS can be to start a conversation. Because the way this AI agent's set up, and the reason we have these AI workflows inside the AI agent builder is because the AI agent can respond to each of these messages. So if I'm sending out SMS, I'm just trying to invoke a response. I'm trying to generate a response by the customer because then I want this AI agent to respond. And it'll respond as long as it's switched on for those channels. So if I'm texting from the same number, right, or calling from the same number, I just flip this switch and now the AI is going to respond to these inbound messages. Same with email, right? You can send email, I can respond to email. That's typically how I design my AI workflows. I'm trying to elicit a response. So like, hey, I'd love to jump on a call with you, right? You wait for the person to respond. Yeah, that's great. Or here's your website. Do you have any questions? Right? You're trying to get a response, and then the AI agent takes over from there and gets them booked. And so if we're doing it with the system prompt way, right, there's no specific workflow with a trigger of conversation started. That's what we call the prompt only method. The AI agent is going to respond based on these instructions, right? So this
That's
is where we can
basically its
tell it.
default.
What's that?
It's like it's its own default.
Yeah, that's the default settings, right? It's just going to respond based on your instructions. And it's going to be able to do whatever you turned on for integrations. So you can tell it, I want it to give it permission to search the internet. I want it to be able to get the weather. I want it to be able to book an appointment. I want it to be able to add tags, send emails. You just flip on these switches here, and now the AI has access to those tools. Now, with this approach, right, AI is very flexible. It can do anything, which can be a pro and a con, right? Unless you put your prompting in there really good, like I want you to do exactly this, and I want you to do it maybe in this order. You got to make sure your prompt is good. But for the cases where you want more of a structured conversation, what people are going to be saying in response, we can create a new workflow. And this can be like inbound communication, right? And the trigger here, we can do different triggers for like an inbound SMS. We can do one of those. We can do inbound call. We can do inbound email. Or there's one called conversation started, which encompasses all of those, right? So if I have my flow up here saying sending out an SMS, someone responds, it's going to go here to this trigger now that I have this trigger set. And then so this basically, like, you can think of it as like hijacks the conversation. It's no longer just the AI responding, according to your prompt. Now it's responding based on what you tell it to say. And so I like to put in a conversation node first. So if someone responds via SMS, it's going to say this and exactly this. But if I still want the AI to have some flexibility, we have this AI generated mode. So static response, it's going to say, hi, how can I help you today? AI generated mode, I might say something like, say hi to the user and greet them. All right, this is more prompting. I'm going to tell it what to say. Now, when should you use these? Well, if you're sending out a message in another workflow and you're eliciting a response, you got to remember, you don't know what that user is going to respond with, right? They might say, the website looks great, right? And you're like, hi, how can I help you today? Like, that's kind of odd, right? So this is why we have the AI generated, because you can give it instructions and AI is going to respond in context. So if someone says the website looks great, it'll say something like, I'm glad you love it. How can I help you? You want to get set up on a demo? Whatever your instructions are here. And having that in context reply is obviously a much smarter system than just ignoring what the person said. So inbound calls, right? Your opening greeting, I would use a static response, right? We want to greet people the same way every time. But like responding to some outbound SMS or email you sent, keep it on AI generated.
Let me ask you a question right there on an inbound, because in my case, and again, dealing with real estate as well, two things I have, and I see there that you have route 1, route 2. Mm-hmm. If it's an inbound, a lot of times I answer the phone and I don't know if it's in English or in Spanish. Mm-hmm. So I've played with it in my head. How can I have the agent answer the phone? Mm-hmm. Where will it automatically recognize a language?
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing. Like English and Spanish work together out of the box. We call it Spanglish, right? Mm-hmm. The AI can jump back and forth between languages automatically. Now, you want to tell the AI in the instructions on when you should switch, right? Okay. If you don't tell it, someone could say something in English and it responds, or someone says something in Spanish, it responds back in English. maybe because your prompt is in English. So I like to add something to the prompt that says, always respond to the user in the same language that they're using, right? That way they can go back and forth as many times as they want. So yeah, English and Spanish works out of the box. One caveat I want to throw out there is if you're using static response, remember it's going to read this. So if you typed it in English, it's going to say it in English.
Exactly.
But if you want it to be multilingual, just click AI generated. You don't even have to change it, right? It'll adapt and say the same thing in another language. So we were setting up one client. It was, and they wanted to have it in, I think it was Chinese. They wanted to have it in Chinese. We duplicated the agent, switched all the nodes to AI generated, set the language to Chinese, and now it was just doing the same thing in Chinese, like automatically translated everything. It's like, I don't know how to write Chinese, right? But I know how to write what I want in English, and that's all we needed to do.
So it basically responds, I mean, in Chinese, what you're saying to me, and that's basically multi-language across the board then.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's in a chat sort of stage, does it actually type the Chinese language?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Mm-hmm.
So on the multi-language though, I would think you would still want a static response as an answer. So for example, I'm going to call and I'm going to answer, "Good afternoon. You're calling Acme Realty," hypothetically.
Yeah.
And then somebody's going to say, in Spanish, they're going to say, "I want to speak to, I'm calling about this house," in Spanish. You're saying it's going to automatically recognize the Spanish and then engage in Spanish?
Yeah, automatically recognize Spanish. So even if I just keep it on English here, I'm not going to change anything. Again, I would want to put something in here that says something like, always respond to the user in the same language that they're speaking.
Got it.
Right?
That's
Something as simple as that. Now we can test it. We can do the chat mode, or we can do the voice mode. So let me see if I'm sharing my audio here. I don't know if I am, but we'll soon find out. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Let me see what mic I'm using here. Hold on, because I'm on streaming mode. Let me check my mic settings here. Okay, let me do that. Hola, ¿cómo estás? What is this thing we got over here? So there we go.
There it goes.
¿Hablas español? ¿Hablas español? I think there's something going on with my mic here on the stream share. Let me see. I really want to show you guys that. Let me see what I can do here. Let me try switching. It's not picking up what I'm saying. I'm going to switch to my MacBook mic real quick. See if that helps. Do a new agent here. Go ahead and save that. Hola, ¿cómo estás? All right. So the first thing I want to say there is notice the Spanish is horrible, right? And the reason for that is we actually, let me switch my mic back again. We actually picked an English speaking voice here. And so if you wanted to speak Spanish, you really want a voice that was done in Spanish. So you can pick tons of the voice options here, but imagine we're going to pick this Peruvian voice here. Perfect. So we do the same test again. And 1 second, let me switch my mic.
So could you have it change agents so that when the incoming call comes in, you have a static response is like, "Hello, you're calling Acme Realty." And then when they say something in Spanish, could it be triggered where it jumps over to a Spanish speaking, the Peruvian agent that you just picked?
Yeah, we can. Let me show you that. Hola, ¿cómo estás? right? And now we can go back and forth. Hola, hablas inglés. Hola, hablas inglés. Yeah, I'm like trying to talk through my computer on here. So, but you can see I responded in English right there. So it can go back and forth. But let me show you how you would get it to transfer to a different agent. So in here, in your workflow, you'd have a trigger of conversation started, conversation node. Let's change the trigger to conversation started. Perfect. And so in this conversation node, we can say like, hey, are you interested in like English or Spanish? So I can make some routes in here, English or Spanish.
Right.
Or French, right?
So you can add as many routes as you want.
You can add as many routes as you want. And so what I would do here is we got to transfer, what is it? Agents, forward to agent step here. And so I can actually forward this to another agent. And so that agent can be like my French agent.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we set it up. Yep. Yep.
At what point would you, Mike, if somebody needs to talk to me, or you, let's say that they needed to talk to you, you're obviously going to have your agents go through all that and ask them, what's the purpose of the call, blah, blah, blah. But maybe it's an emergency. Fast forward to that spot where, okay, let's use the example that with my bankruptcy website. Somebody needs to file a bankruptcy and they need to do it today. And they don't have time. They need to speak to a live person eventually. How would you, what would be your steps to get from that point where it hands off? And first of all, the agent's doesn't know what I'm doing. I may be having dinner, or I may be talking to another client. So is the agent going to first try to reach out to me? And if they don't, is it going to go back to the client, to the caller, and say, listen, he's not available right now, but XYZ?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. So typically what you would do is there's going to be scenarios where like you don't know where someone's going to ask for you. Could be in the middle of a call, right? Could be at the beginning of the call. Who knows? For those type of situations, we'll use a conversation mode and we'll turn on global mode. And so the global node is basically you tell it when the AI should jump here. So you could say when someone asks to speak with a human, or they ask for Michael directly, or if it's an emergency. So you'll type in those instructions here. So I can go ahead and say when it's an emergency. If they need an emergency bankruptcy filing, or they ask to speak with Michael, then go here. All right. So that's the instructions I would put here. And I could say something like, one moment, please, will I connect you with Michael?
Or try to reach Michael.
Or try to reach Michael. Exactly. You could say that. And we'll auto continue. Go to the next node. And this is going to be where we do a call forwarding. And with the call forwarding node, we can have it only ring you during business hours, which is cool. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Maybe you don't want any late night calls. Maybe you do. You can edit that. Now, as long as you have this setting in here of, let's see, confirm key. If you have the setting confirm key, if you don't pick up and press 1 in this case to accept the call, then the system's going to know that was a no answer.
Correct.
Right? So it'll go to the no answer branch.
If I don't press 1.
If you don't press 1. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's exactly why we put the confirm key here. So we know it's a no answer. Otherwise, your voicemail could have picked up or something, right? And that technically looks like an answer. So leave the confirm key on. You can control how many times you want it to ring. But if you press 1, it's answered. Great. If you didn't answer, it's going to go down this no answer branch. And this is where the AI can say something like, hey, it looks like, Michael's on another call, helping another person right now. Let me go ahead and take a message. So you can set it up that way. Now,
Same thing if maybe it is calling me and I do get the call, but I don't want to answer because I'm in the middle of something similar like we do with our phones. We, do not answer. So I can hit a 2 and tell them, hey, I got your call, but I'm on the other line or something. Can I call you back or something of the sort? You can instruct it those things is what I'm presuming.
Yep, exactly. You can like anything you can dream up here. So if you wanted to shoot a text message to you and the customer and say, hey, Mike's going to text you, you can do that. You can have it just carry on the conversation, book a meeting for a better time. If you are going to, I want to show you this too, because this is actually one of my favorite features here. This works perfect with like the executive assistant use case. So I already showed you guys in the past how you guys can book a meeting on a calendar, but we actually have this thing called availability check. Now you can use this in combination with the call forwarding. So we're only going to attempt to call you if you're available, right? So it's going to read your calendar. It's going to read your schedule. If you have a meeting booked, it's not going to try to ring you, which is cool. So it's a little bit of a smarter call forwarding. So you can add a custom schedule here. You can also connect your calendar, and then it's using both of those combined.
So, Mike, where does the smart agent come into this play? Yeah, the smart agent being the one who learned your services inside out. That is where you're on the phone, like Michael just said, and you're busy, who can take that conversation instead of scheduling a time to speak to you, but actually deal with the situation. And in many cases, perhaps even close the sale, or basically do the next step that a real life agent would have done in a scenario like that.
Yeah. Well, that's where you can mix these two different worlds together. So you might have a scenario. Let me remove this forward to agent example. But imagine in this step right here, instead of asking them like what language they want, I can just say, hi, how can I help you today? And my automation in here for the agent can stop at that, right? And so what this means is agent's going to open with this, right? If I have the conversation started trigger here, we'll go ahead and make that conversation started trigger. So AI agent's going to open with this. And then from there, it doesn't have anything structured to say. So it's going to go based on your system prompts. So if I go back over here, now it's following your instructions. And so that's where it can, answer questions about your business. It can, use any tools you give it. If you want it to, book meetings, send emails, do all sorts of stuff, you can just turn on these tools and the AI can call it. But then you get cases where, like you said, Michael, and you may want emergencies to go get forwarded to you. Well, it can jump on this track, right, to then go through this call forwarding sequence. And so if there's nothing else connected here in the no answer or outside hours branch, that's where it goes back to that dynamic agent mode where it'll say, looks like no one's available, how else can I help you? And it'll go based on your system prompt. So you can kind of mix both of these things together.
But it's still heavy prompt focus. Is there any sort of, it's got natural language ability. So it does have to have the ability to learn whatever you offer in your services and then basically take charge of the conversation without too much guidance. In other words, the parameters of guidance are really just what's on your website. It's like, this is what I'm offering, or documents that you fed it to learn exactly what services you offer, what is the prices of those services, especially where it's a one-off cost, and then perhaps even take them to the subscription page where they can actually sign up on a subscription and close the deal.
Yeah.
Is that available to that extent or not yet?
So let me give you like an analogy, and I think that'll help right here. So imagine you just hired someone new for your business. You hired someone random off the street, and you said, "Here's my website," and then you gave him a phone. You said, "Here's the phone. When it rings, pick up." If you did that, you might get some varying degrees of success, right? Some people might, not know what to say when you answer the phone. Some people might just go into question and answer mode. Another person might try to get sales for you. Maybe it just depends on how they're feeling that day. And it's kind of the same way with the AI agents. If you don't give it some sort of instructions, yes, like an SOP, yes, you can feed it your website and train it on your website, but still, like, what do you want it to do next, right? And it doesn't have to be crazy complicated. You can just say, like, hey, you work for me, and I want you to book appointments, right? That's enough. Now it has some direction on where to go. So you do need to give it some direction, and that's why we have the prompting in here. And that direction can be dynamic. So one of the cool variables I actually love in here is we have this one called lead context. So when the AI is speaking with someone, remember the contact details page where I can see like the unified timeline, I can see when they were created, the call recordings, the summary, the tags, all that stuff. I can feed that to the AI, right? So it can have the lead information and it can have the lead activity. This is every time they've interacted with our business.
So it'll kind of go back into the CRM's information and pick up right where they last left off.
Yep, exactly.
So it'll be completely relevant to whatever they called about in the beginning.
Yep.
Even if it speaks to a different agent, because
even if it's a different agent. Yeah. Any interaction, human or AI, across your business.
Awesome. Oh, wow.
It'll see what pipeline stage they're in, everything.
I get it. So just sort of bear with me for a second here. I'm just trying to get my hair around it. So what if I want an agent? I prompt it. I give it some prompts, basically guiding it to say, well, if somebody phones in about buying digital services, and I do have a fixed subscription for that, right? And they say, well, but first we want to have some information on it. Okay, so the AI has learned about us, and I say the first thing you need to do is to guide the customer to for them to understand everything around the service they ask about. So that is the prompt, right? Then the next prompt basically would be, now that the customer has got the information they require, you ask them questions whether they want more information, and you share everything you know until the point where you get the customer saying, well, I now understand what you offer. And then basically, instead of letting the customer go, you have a prompt and say, I want the customer now to go to the subscription page. And basically being able to offer a 20% discount if you sign up right now. So you basically have a closing agent right there saying, there's a discount of 20%. Can we sign you up for this? And that is the sales agent I would want on my website. Then I obviously will have something else for support, but that's the general mindset is that the prompts are minimum, as you quite rightly said, but the interaction with the customer is natural language. It is for the customer, it's like speaking to somebody on the other side. And this agent has got one thing in mind, is to close the deal.
Yeah.
And only when the customer says, no, I'm not signing up right now, even with the discount you're offering. Like, you don't have to offer the discount immediately. You can just basically sign you up now. And if the customer says no, not ready, then what if I offer you a discount? And then basically, if the customer says no, I don't want to sign up for it today, then can I set up an appointment, a booking appointment with one of our employees to alleviate any more concerns you may have or answer any other questions that may be bothering you.
Yeah.
That is my flow I've got in my head, and as far as I know you can do it, I just want to know how you do it.
Well, exactly what you just said verbatim, I would put that in the system prompt. Everything you just told me, like you're telling me this is what I want, that's what you're going to put in the system prompt.
All right. So basically that is the system prompt.
That becomes the system prompt. System prompt is exactly what you just told me. What you want.
And you can tie that to a specific agent that now you can basically in your trigger mechanism says, if this type of question comes in, it goes to that agent every time.
Yeah.
that type of question comes in, it goes to that agent.
You
Correct?
can have one agent do it all still, right? But you just need to put those instructions in the prompt. So you can say
Right.
first you're gonna, answer all the questions they want. Next, you're gonna try to take them to the booking page. If they object, so they have a rebuttal, overcome the objections, and then offer
Okay.
them a discount.
A-
Yeah.
And can it offer the discount? In other words, if it offers the discount, can it basically say use this discount code
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
sign up? So,
Yep.
right, fantastic. Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
Mike, I
That
have a
is
question. So everything that we just discussed now,
Mhm.
the flow. If you go back to right now, you're in the flow.
Mhm.
The flow, you created it here, and let's say that, right? Do we have to create this manually step by step, or can we have it all written out and I feed it into the agent and it builds it all out?
So you don't have to write it out, right? And I'm going to delete some of this right here. And the prompt can be stupidly simple, right? You can just say your job is to answer questions and to book appointments for a demo. And so I got a simple example here. And I could go ahead and have this be the customer support agent or something. I'll give it a cool name.
Demo agent, right?
Yep. And so for integrations, just like if I hire a receptionist, I'm going to give them access to pull up my calendar and book an appointment. It's the same thing here, right? I want this person to be able to book appointments, right? So I'm going to give them a tool called Book Appointments. And so I can go ahead and connect my calendar account. I don't have one here, but let me see if I can save it without it. Cool, I can. Now the AI can see, oh, look, I can book appointments. And it's going to do it whenever you told it to or whenever it thinks it should, right? And I told it your job is to ask questions and book appointments. Now, I can be more explicit here, right? And book appointments for a demo, I can say using, and you can actually tag these tools. So I type the @ symbol, and now I tag that tool I just turned on. So I'm telling it explicitly when to use that tool. And so that part's really cool. You don't have to have any, drag and drop workflow or anything. You can just turn on the tools, type in the instructions in the system prompt, and now the AI can see these tools and operate under your instructions.
Now
sorry, Michael, because I think this is does it take this information and create that sort of flow at the back automatically based on the information, or does this become the new sort of base from where it works every time?
So there is no like flow behind the scenes here. It's the AI thinking on the spot and reasoning on the spot according to your instructions here.
So you want to give them as many instructions as possible. So for example, let's say I'm having a house for sale as a real estate agent, and an incoming call comes in, and they say, "Hey, I'm calling about ABC on 123 on Main Street." At that point, one of the first questions is like, "Okay, are you an agent or are you an interested buyer?" And then depending on which one of those answers, can I give it instructions in here without having a flow where it'll use a logic to it? Like if they say, well, how much is the house for? Well, I'll have all that in there already, the price, the bedrooms, and all that other stuff, and answer those questions along. Great. And that's not a flow that I presume you're saying is a logical AI answering based on the information that I fed it. But then the flow comes in, I guess, separately, where it'll ask it, you want to schedule an appointment, you want to come and see the house, things of that nature.
Yeah. The drag and drop workflows are for either you're doing some sort of automated outbound marketing, or when you're designing a conversation, you want like specific control over it. Like some people are like, I want it to say this and only this, and it has to be in this order, right?
Correct.
And if you're trying to parse those words specifically, you don't want to do that here and say this quote, right?
No, now it has to be in a flow.
You want to drag and drop and build that.
So that's where you would build it as a flow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's certain things where it's just a repeatable process. You're booking solar was it solar installs? It's always the same thing, right? You have your winning script. We'll just design it in the workflow builder. Something more open-ended, like your executive assistants, and they're calling with questions about, bankruptcy or whatever. I mean, you don't really know what they're going to say, right? Use the prompt builder, less structured.
So for support, can I create an agent for support that I point to your videos that you put together in that area as a URL and say,
Yep.
respond using this data in this knowledge base for
Yep.
support?
Yep.
In other words, it will read the videos, it will read everything, and basically, and if I am more specific and I say, I want you to go to the specific part in the video that covers that,
Mhm.
and AI will handle that, so that when my end user gets a complete summary of their problem without having to go through a whole knowledge base themselves.
Yep.
That is the idea. Okay.
Yep.
This is exactly how my mind thinks. It's like, I want to be able to just link it to my website. My website's got all the information of my services on it. I want to be able to just maybe have a couple of docs in there. I want to be able to, from a support perspective, to point it to the knowledge base that you've given us and say, find the answers there in the first instance.
Yep.
If
Yep.
it's not there, it's time that that the customer speaks to a customer services rep, that type of thing.
Leave
Yep.
a message or schedule.
And this is exactly where you can do that. So it's under shared knowledge. And so
Right.
these knowledge bases can be shared across multiple agents, but you can feed it websites, you can feed it files. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention here, because some people maybe misinterpret the knowledge base. You don't need to teach the AI anything outside of things specific to your business. I'll give you an example in the bankruptcy context for Michael. So I want to teach it like how to do bankruptcy, how bankruptcy works, stuff like that. Like AI knows everything about everything, right? It just knows nothing about you. And so we're going to talk about, Michael's process. We're going to talk about Michael's cost. We're going to talk about Michael's timeline. But we're not going to teach it how to file bankruptcy. We're not going to teach it, anything about bankruptcy. So the data you feed it with, don't feed it with industry, knowledge stuff.
General.
I mean, it's going to know all that already.
Right. Right. So you want to teach you want to feed it specific information, not general information, because it knows it already pretty much.
Yeah. Right. I mean, even when it comes down to like sales strategies, like you're not going to go feed it with like, oh, I want it to follow this guy's sales framework. Don't upload it. It knows it already. Just tell it in the prompt. Right. It studied the whole internet, right? These AIs, they train it on the whole internet. So it knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Right. This is cool.
Very.
Yeah. Good overview. Thank you, Mike.
I think from today's video, you're going to be able to get a lot of different snippets to do different reels. You got a lot of different topics that we've talked about today between us three.
Absolutely. That'll be fun. We'll clip it.
Yeah, but also offer it as a complete video.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's on there now. We're off complete video. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
So whoever's listening to this right now, don't wait, jump, get in on Votel.ai, because it's just going to get even easier, and it's easy as crap right now. So jump in and get in, sign up right now is all I can really say right now to anybody.
I appreciate that. Thank you guys for getting together with us today and taking this chance to go live and share with the community. This is really helpful. And if you guys want any other topics for live streams, please drop some love in the comments. We're happy to do more live streams and show you guys how to build stuff. I love building stuff kind of end to end. So we can do that like an hour stream and just make it happen. But thank you, Michael, and thank you, Douglas. Happy to have you on board. And thanks again for your time today. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Bye.
Keep well.
All right.